Welcome in, rise to the victors on the Blue by 90 podcast network. We're here day 2, your morning, almost daily. We won't be here on Wednesdays, but almost daily show talking pretty much all Michigan football right now. Obviously, we'll get into basketball and other sports as time goes on, but it is football season. I have to apologize. I feel like I'm paying for my super busy day Monday night more today than I did yesterday. Tired. I can feel it in my voice, dude. Football season's catching up to me, but it's a good thing. So, Trevor McCue here, part of Blue by 90, joined by my good buddy, Mr. Darnell Porter. First off, shout out, and Darnell, I say too. Lot of really good feedback, guys, from our show and Blue by 90 and what we're doing. Some friends, some people in our, Michigan circles and, viewers. Obviously, we got a lot of growing to do, but just a lot of support coming from you guys yesterday. So thank you. And I'm sure, Darnell, you can echo similar sentiment.
Yeah, I want to say a big shout out to all of the fans that came out yesterday for our first episode, guys. We came up with this idea, me and Trevor, because we wanted to find a way to interact with you guys and give back. So the fact that we're getting so much positive feedback from not only the fans but also Blue by 90 saying how great the show is, how everybody enjoyed it. We thank you. Continue to like, subscribe it, send it to other Michigan fans so they know that we're here every day. Like Trevor said, except Wednesday. That helps the show grow and creates longevity, right? So if you love what we do, the easiest way you can help us is continuously liking it, continuously subscribing and sharing it out to other friends. But I'm excited, Trev. You're a madman. After you told me all the stuff you had going on yesterday, you still showed up, and we're here today. And I'm super excited to get into today's topics.
I think I was on an adrenaline kick. So, yeah, Monday morning, it was 12:01. I was there for the midnight practice, which looked like it wasn't going to happen because there was lightning. So it got delayed. The kids were bummed. They had to go in the gym for a little bit. And then the admin who was there basically said, hey, you guys are clear now. It's been long enough. And they got to go outside and practice outside, which was cool, but a little bit of rain. And I took photos and edited a video. So I did that as soon as I got home. And then for those that don't know, I work for my local newspaper. So I had my articles, did the podcast, and I was like running. I felt good. And this morning, my God, I don't know how I did college, bro. I don't get 8 hours of sleep and I'm dead. It's crazy.
So I have a theory about that. My mom used to always make fun of me because I was that guy in college, right? I'd go party at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get up for 8 o'clock shift. And my mom used to tell me, she was like, yeah, you're burning the candle at both ends of the stick. I never understood it. I'm like, I'm good. Like I can go off 3, 4, 5 hours sleep. Now that I'm getting up in age, I understand the saying now because, like you just said, when you don't get that proper amount of sleep, you just drag. It just feels like.
But you just old, Trav. Thanks, Darbo. Not as old as your dad, buddy. Oh, I wish Kelly was here. He would have loved that. All right, let's get into talk, Michigan football talk. Talked a lot about hype yesterday with the offense. We're going to get into the defense today, but the big topic last week, and then it kind of faded, and then he was asked about it again yesterday. Michigan head coach Kyle Whittingham was at the podium, and his Ohio State comments, which we live in a world where, tweets and headlines are what spreads. So the big thing that came out was he said he doesn't hate Ohio State. Right. And it became this whole thing about what's the right mindset for that game. And Michigan fans, I knew your initial pushback because for years it felt like Ohio State was taking that game more seriously, right? Especially under Urban Meyer. And the switch seemed to come in 21 with the way Jim Harbaugh and Aiden Hutchinson and these guys were talking about, like, we will beat Ohio State, right? And that mindset seemed to be the change. And then here comes 4 straight victories. So people get kind of anxious with the way that game is talked about. And, my initial pushback was, guys, he doesn't hate Ohio State. Even when he was first hired, I was like, this is going to be kind of weird, right? Because Urban Meyer is one of his best friends and was a big reason he came to Michigan. He was one of the first people he consulted, right? So it's going to be kind of interesting. But yesterday he gets asked about it again, and I want to play his full comment on it, and then we'll build off of it. And if you guys are watching live, throw in the comments as well what you think about what Kyle Whittingham is saying here regarding Ohio State.
We have a better chance to win if I hated him, or I don't understand. whatever gives us the best chance to win, I'm all for. Want to beat them worse than anybody, around, and so I don't know how that got to be such a hot topic. But anyway, I cut you off. What was your question?
No problem. Historically, there have been like periods dedicated to beating Ohio State. I was wondering if you believe, if you had something like that for the Holy War, if you still believe in that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah. There's periods where in practice segments or things in the weight room that that's talked about. We've got the countdown clocks. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay that at all. It's a huge game, gigantic, and it's something that we all have in the back of our mind 24/7. And so I don't know, I probably should have worded it differently, but that game is of the utmost importance.
Was that surprising to you, how the reaction?
No, people, it's not surprising. I guess I set myself up for it in a lot of ways, but just don't confuse that with the desire, a lack of desire or something to win the game. I mean, we obviously understand that is the game, as we call it. Yeah.
Darnell, did Kyle Whittingham have his Rich Rod moment?
See, I'm conflicted. And you've already told me your point of view, so I'm not going to steal your thunder. As a person that has grown up in the state, lived the rivalry for many, many years, it when I first heard it, it did bother me. Okay, a little bit, because I mean, I'm old school. My grandfather and father were the type of people that tell us that we don't stop in Ohio to get gas. Now, I don't know if that means hate, but when we drove to family reunions down south and we had to go through Ohio, we would literally get gas at the Michigan border, drive through Ohio, no stop, get on the other side of Ohio in Kentucky, and then gas up again. That's how much people that raised me into this rivalry dislike not only the school, but also the state, right? And so when I first heard the comment, it irked me, but then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, this guy is not, it would be like asking me as a newfound, I don't know, assistant coach, I'm at BYU or I'm at Utah, and the first thing they ask me, so what do you think about the Holy Wars? Like, yeah, I want to beat them, but I mean, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it. I've never been engulfed in that. And the one thing I asked my dad yesterday after those comments, after he reset his comments, I said, Dad, do you think Bo hated Ohio State? And he was like, it's kind of hard to tell. He said he worked, Woody was his mentor. Right. He said so, and him and Woody were good friends. So I don't know if he hated Woody. He said now he wanted to kick Ohio State's, every year. He said, did he hate some of the things that they did to the team when they traveled down to Columbus, like turning off the hot water in the hotels, that type of stuff? He like, probably so. He said, but I couldn't tell you if he hated Ohio State. He said, but I know for sure Woody hated Michigan. Like he said, he showed us every time he talked about Michigan, every time he came up, he hated Michigan. He said, so I don't know if there's been a coach that publicly hates Ohio State. He said, now there's a lot of disdain. He said maybe Jim hated because he played.
Jim hated Ohio State.
Yeah, but he actually played in the rivalry, right?
Right.
Lloyd coached in it, right? Gary Moeller coached in it, but I don't know. So I'm not gonna knock him. I want to see what does preparation look like. I've been kind of keeping my ear to the streets. I want to see how they prep for the game, because you can hate a person all you want, but if you're not prepping for it, or if it's fake hate, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna get into that, if it's fake hate, it doesn't produce the results anyway.
Right.
So what are we doing here?
Yeah, there's layers to it, but let's start with the fake hate. He doesn't hate Ohio State, like I said. Does this guy not understand rivalry? He played at BYU and coached at Utah. Okay. He gets rivalry, right? he has grown up almost his entire life around college football, with his father being a coach, with him playing, and then obviously being a coach. So he's talked about his admiration for Michigan and Ohio State in this rivalry from afar and being able to be a part of it, right? But I got two options. I got a guy that can be real, and I got a guy that can fake it. And the guy that was faking it for a lot of years was Ryan Day at Ohio State. And I was very consistent on this. Anybody who's been a viewer of my pods before, I said right after the 2023 game, Ryan Day hates this rivalry. He hates that people care so much about beating Michigan. He hates that he's going out there and has the best winning percentage in college football, and people wanted him fired after the 2024 game. Ohio State fans can act like that's, they wanted him fired after that game, right? And when he says team up north, and there was a press conference one where somebody said something to Michigan, he goes, who? And the reporter's like, what, Michigan? He goes, oh, we don't say that around here. It's like, team up north. He's like, yeah, he corrected the reporter, and it was so cringe, right? Ryan Day's from New Hampshire, right? He got hired and was like the head coach within 2 years after being brought in from Boston College, right? So does he maybe have that feeling now? Sure, because he's been coaching in it for a while, and because of the pressure that came on him from fans and whatever. But he was faking it. After the 2023 game, he said a quote. I've brought this up multiple times too. And somebody asked, he goes, yeah, this game means a lot to a lot of people. And the way he said that felt like he wasn't included in those lot of people, right? Yeah. I don't want a guy going up there and saying Ohio and doing all the gimmicks because they think they have to and faking it. I don't want that. We just got done with Sharon Moore faking this Harbaugh persona for 2 years. When he was himself, I think there was a lot of strengths to Sharon Moore. When he was trying to be Jim Harbaugh, it was not good, right? You hired Kyle Whittingham because of who he is. Let him be who he is. To your point, yes, I want to know the preparation. You still need to beat Ohio State, right? You have to be ready for that game. Like he said, it's the utmost importance, whatever, and he probably set himself up. There's ways to answer those questions. That's why I said the Rich Rod moment, right? Rich Rod got caught off guard when he was asked about that and basically said, sorry.
You're good.
Justin's texting me. Apparently, I have the left. Oh, yep, that is the wrong logo. Okay. Sorry, I got off track. So again, part of it too, if we're being real, the reason Ryan Day's changed a little bit, is because they won the national championship in 2024.
Right.
Ryan Day proved you can win a national championship and lose to Michigan. And when he won that natty, he went from wanting to be fired to vindicated. And he decided from right there, it didn't have to be the way it's been. And then they obviously beat Michigan last year, whatever. So the truth is, whether we want to admit it or not, that game doesn't mean as much as it did in 2021. Michigan knew they had to beat Ohio State to get to the Big Ten championship, to win the Big Ten, and to get to the playoff, right? And that's why my pushback on Ohio State fans all those years that were like, oh, we don't care about the game anymore. If Ohio State beats Michigan in 2021, Big Ten champions probably in the playoff. 2022 is the year they snuck in, right?
Yeah.
Because USC lost. So they got in anyway, right?
Yeah.
23, win the Big Ten, get in the playoffs. How many national championships could Ohio State have won in that 21-23 thing if they beat Michigan, right? That game still matters. Now a 12-team playoff, maybe 24. I fear there is a world coming where they're going to rest players in that game potentially. We've talked about that. I don't want to get off topic with that. But anyway, fans that you've grown up with this rivalry and you hate Ohio State because you're on social media and dealing with the worst of the worst fans on both sides every day, I get it. But for me, if he went up there and started talking about how much he hates Ohio State and he didn't believe it, fade me on that. Give me the guy that's being sincere. He knows he messed up and he probably should have answered better. You heard him say it. But I'm just not that mad about this. I'm not.
I got a real hot topic, and we can use this for a topic down the line. But as a person that grew up in the state, I'm about to say something that's very controversial, right?
Okay.
So, without giving away my age, uh, in the '90s, I didn't have to really hate Ohio State because we was beating them. Like my hatred was dealing with Michigan State fans that I went to school with every day, right? Because I didn't go to elementary and middle school with a bunch of Ohio State fans. They lived in Ohio. So, like the whole little brother comment from Mike Hart was like awesome to me, right? Because I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel. Like, there's our little brother. Like the TJ Duckey game, uh, the extra time on the clock, I was furious after that game, right? Felt like I'd been cheated out of my team winning what was the state Super Bowl, right? And so I had more interaction with those fans, so that created more of a hate than Ohio because I only played Ohio State once a year, right? Like so, the Charles Rogers game, right? Like I did not like Michigan State. I was happy when Nick Saban rode his horse down to Baton Rouge, right? I remember laughing at Michigan State fans like we ran your coach out. And so I don't know. Like I said, I dislike hate is a strong word. I know somebody tweeted yesterday should hate being college football. Now I'm not the morale police, so it absolutely should be in there if that's how you truly feel. But to your point, Trev, I also don't want people just faking it just to say, "Oh, I hate them." But you won a natty without beating Michigan. You didn't wake up the next day and say Ryan Day needs to be fired because he lost to Michigan. You said we're national champions.
Yeah,
we want to win anymore. It didn't matter anymore. That game didn't matter anymore.
Yep.
So I just agree with you on the fake hate, right? Yeah. Now, if you truly hate them, I think somebody said in the comments, it's more about what the players feel, right? Because they're playing in the game, right? I'm glad you still have people who've played in the game on the staff. You still got Freddie J on the staff. Tony Alford coached in the game on the staff. Christian Bryant on the staff. These are people who played in the game. They're still going to be telling people like, hey, we're not losing that game. Like let's lock in, boys. Let's get it. Will it be on the level that Jim was when they do the Victor's Walk and that type of stuff? Who knows? I don't know if Kyle's going to get into all of that. But to me, the most important thing is when they come out of that tunnel the weekend after Thanksgiving, are you prepared to go in and completely kick their you-know-what for 60 minutes and get that W? If it takes hate to do it, hate. If it don't take the hate but the preparation, do it. I just want to win the game. That's how I feel.
No, I'm with you. And that's why, I mean, again, we can analyze the prep and stuff after, but just the initial word of the hate. And not with, like, you brought up the morality part of it, and, like, Whittingham seems like a guy that just doesn't like using the word hate ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that was another part of it too. And he's right. There is the reason that game is so good, and the reason that rivalry brings Michigan, Ohio State above Michigan State is because there is a level of respect, because that game so often determined who won the Big Ten, because those two teams were so good so often, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's not great rivalries when one team sucks all the time. Right? We've got trophy rivalries in football where Michigan's only lost like 4 times, you know? So that's part of it too. But yeah, for me, it's just fake versus real. And as long as Witt's being real, I'm here for it.
Talk is cheap. What you do on the field is what matters.
It's his first year. We'll see. You know, he's definitely he has the respect and he understands the tradition of Michigan, but he's not a Michigan guy. And we wanted Michigan to go get an outsider, and that's what they did.
I think he understands enough. I will put it to you like this. Urban is his good friend / mentor. This is like, for Urban Meyer, this is like your 2 prodigal sons having to face each other, and you get a front row seat every year because you work for Fox. Urban has explained to Kyle, like, hey, they will get you out of there if you're not winning this game. So trust and believe. This game
He's
is
going to
important.
hate the fans if he drops that game. That's a good comment.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Right.
I think we're good. I think we're good. I think everybody just need to, in the Aaron Rodgers voice, relax. It's going to be okay. We haven't even let's get through Oklahoma first. You can hate Ohio State, but let's get through Oklahoma first.
There it is. Yep. Aaron Rodgers telling anybody to relax is crazy, but all right. All right. Took up a big chunk of time there. We still got about 10 minutes. I want to get into the defensive side. We talked about offense primarily yesterday. And for those of you that missed it, obviously you can go back and watch the show. Just the hype machine and what level you're willing to accept. How much are you just chalking up as there's hype every, off season. So one of my big points was I'm more likely to accept the hype this year. And part of the reason I'm in so much is because of how candid this coaching staff has been in terms of players that are standing out, strengths, and what's building the hype. Yes, but also where maybe they have some concerns or some opportunities or where there needs to be some improvement, right? And defense is a big piece of that. I think they've been very open about depth at a couple spots needing to be sorted out at defensive tackle, specifically linebacker. We know, the 4 guys there that we're hoping can make an impact, become starters, heavy rotation guys, but not a ton of experience and bodies behind them. But again, almost no experience, tough with depth. Same thing in the secondary, some elite level guys at the top, but some concerns about depth. They've been very honest about those things. So where are you at defensively? I'm ecstatic about Jay Hill. When he was first hired and I was looking back his tape, and one of the first articles I did was I'm getting Minter 23 vibes, but slightly different. And then anytime somebody makes me look like I know what I'm talking about, which is rare, I get really excited. But Jay Hill came out and said, that's basically our roadmap, 23 Michigan. That's what we're looking for with a multiple front defense. We're going to disguise coverages. We're going to make the offense never know what's coming and who's lining up where, right? Create pressure, force turnovers. Like it's exciting. And Jay Hill is obviously a guy with some head coach experience as well. He was thought of as one of the best defensive minds in college football, was an excellent hire, obviously. But in terms of scheme, hopefully not going cover 0 and every 3rd and long. And the players this year, obviously the strength comes into it as well, the improvements there. But where are you at defensively in terms of hype, and how good does the defense need to be, I guess? I mean, because as much as we got frustrated with Whittingham last year, that was still what? I don't remember where they finished, but it was like a top 15 defense, I think. It was those big third downs and stuff like that were so brutal. But
I think they would have finished top 15 had the Texas game not happened.
Oh, yeah, good point.
They definitely was a top, I guess, still does 2, 4, 6. So it's top 10 defense and or top 7 defense in the Big Ten. They averaged 20. They gave up about 20, let's say 20 points a game, which is pretty solid. It depends on what's your goals of this season, right? If your goal of the season is to compete for a Big Ten championship and make the playoffs, I think they can do that if they keep the defense somewhere in the middle to high teens. We're talking about points per game, right? So if you keep them somewhere between 15 and 19 points, I think that's a good enough defense. If, and this is a big if Beck's offense clicks and I'm not expecting them to be a top 3 offense, but let's say they're a top 10 offense, right? You're a top 15 defense. I think that's good enough to make the playoffs. I think that's good enough to beat somebody on your schedule. Of those 4 toss-up games, and I'm pretty sure we'll go through the schedule down the line, but of the 4 toss-up games I have, you get past Oklahoma, you got 3 more left. I think if you're with those type of stats, top 10 offense, top 15 defense, you can upset an Ohio State or an Oregon, right? I don't know if you get both, but in the perfect world, you split those games, you beat Indiana.
Yeah, so the synergy of the two is more important. That
correct, because it's about ebbs and flow of the game, right? Bryce makes a mistake, gets a turnover. I need to be sure that my defense can, if he turns it over in a bad spot, or God forbid a running back fumbles and they fumble inside the red zone, I got a stout defense that can come back out there and hold them to 3. That was Jesse Minter's and Mike McDonald's, I think, best attribute is their defense was stout inside the 20s. Like, you better score. You better score over the top, because if they get you inside the 20,
great point.
Get that field goal kicker warmed up, right? And so that's important, because then that turns a game from getting out of whack 14-0 to 10-0. Now, if you score a touchdown, you right back in it, right? And so it's how well they're going to be able to play complementary football. I love the fact that, like you said, it's Jesse Minter-esque. Multiple disguise. I remember coaches talking about when Jesse was in the league or in the conference, the one thing that was hard to prep against Michigan is pre-picture, they would show you one look, and then post-snap, it would be a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Like, you cover one on one side, zone blitz on the other side. It's like, what is going on, right? And it was confusing a lot of quarterbacks because they hadn't seen that level of disguise in college football. So I'm excited about the defense. We were talking about yesterday, Rob Moore's back. Hopefully he's healthy. Bracey is a name that we're hearing a lot about. So much so that Smith Stoughton we thought was going to be a safety. He's moving now to outside corner, right? So when you're able to have that type of depth, that makes me excited, because that means that now I got Lavert Hill. Now what am I going to do with Shamari?
Lavert?
I mean, not Lavert Hill, Zaire Hill. Zaire Hill.
My favorite interception of all time.
Yeah, that definitely the West Coast.
Stepped out of bounds so he could flex on the guy.
But I now can move people around, right?
Right.
And you still have Zeke Berry, who can play his natural position now. So I don't have many questions. The only question is the one that I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat is all said and brought up, is linebacker, right? I think we're kind of thin there, kind of young there. I think our defensive line is going to be incredible. I think the fact that Daly is back is huge, right? You have another edge presence. So I just want to see what competent, and once again, I'm not taking a shot at the former staff, because that would be kind of wrong. But I'm just happy that we're about to get some developers back in the building. I thought Klink was a great developer, right? He goes to the Chargers. Not saying Morgan wasn't. I'm just saying, like, there's levels to this development stuff, and I'm happy that we got coaches that seemingly were able to put up a top. BYU defense was better than ours last year. And I would say Jay Hill did that with less talent. Because I think overall, our talent is bigger than BYU. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and we can run down some of the player stuff real quick. Again, with how candid this staff has been, in terms of intel, nothing sounds crazy, because it's pretty much echoing what they've been saying, right? But yeah, a healthy JHD on the edge is massive. For those of you that have not seen him play, go look up some John Henry Daly highlights. If you don't get Hutch vibes, then you don't remember what Hutch looked like. I'm not saying the dude's going to have a Hutch season. That was maybe the best for a defensive end in Michigan history. But he plays similar. He looks similar. I have been hearing positive things about Dom Nichols since the offseason began. I think he's going to have an impact this year. Anybody that knows me knows I've been raving about Lugard Edekpe since he got here. I'm hoping now his third year he's ready to put it together. The dude's tools with his length and height and size, he's a freak. Nate Marshall, you got a second year of a former top recruit. Carter Meadows would probably have been getting a lot more hype and talk had he been here in the spring. Unfortunately, not an early enrollee, but he's here. He's too good to not play. Benny Patterson's a guy we thought would play inside. On the outside, looks like he's going to be pretty good, right?
Etta?
And on the inside, Etta and Pierce seem to be stepping up, man, and feeling comfortable with their roles on the interior. And, Jonah coming from Utah is going to get some play. David Palipale, is he ready now? Is he physically at a spot to contribute? Bobby Kenka from Howell, a guy getting a lot of talk inside, right? And I continue to be a massive fan of Travis Moten. I think that is a scary, scary dude that can make some big plays when you get out there. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think that defensive front, again, there's a lot of optimism coming from the staff. And without, like you said, without trying to criticize old versus new, whatever, a big issue last year is getting guys in the right spot, or in the previous 2 years was getting guys in the right spot. To come out the gate and say Zeke Berry was all Big Ten corner on the outside, and Smith Snowden was your nickel at Utah, and go, well, we're going to play Snowden outside primarily and move Berry into nickel. That's a staff that's not getting cute and not messing around and knows like this is what's going to work best, right? We want our dudes on an island on the outside, and they're going to rotate. You're going to see Hill at nickel. You're going to see Snowden playing some nickel too, right? But like that early recognition, like, okay, right? And yeah, you brought up Chris Bracey's getting hyped. So yeah, it's the linebacker spot. And that kind of depends on who you ask, I feel like, right? I know some dudes that love Troy Bowles, and they should. This is a fourth-year player, spent 2 years at Georgia. When he did play last year, made some plays. I know people like Chase Taylor, who's one of those underrated guys that impressed and exceeded expectations last year. North Dakota State transfer, I think it's Staling Nathaniel, was injured during the spring, so he didn't get talked about a ton, was maybe framed like a special teams guy. Now that he's healthy, that's another thing too. This staff doesn't project out, right? If you weren't around, they're not going to pretend you're the starter. You got to come in and earn it. So that's part of what's like impacted the hype too. I'm not as worried about linebacker as other people.
Yeah.
I don't think that position is as important as it used to be. You see that at the NFL level too, as far as where they're drafting guys, how much they're paying them and stuff. I don't mean that in a bad way. Linebacker is still important, but like there's just not a lot of Ray Lewis's anymore.
You can get away with it, because I tell people all the time, when people ask me as a Rams fan, right? People ask me about what am I worried about with the Rams, and I'll be like, our linebacker. But then when you think about it, it's like,
when you have
such a good defensive line, you have a good secondary. I mean, if linebacker is your worst thing you're worried about, pretty sure you're going to be okay, because they're checking tight ends and running backs out the backfield, right? Mm-hmm. But the playmakers are on the outside with the wide receivers, and as long as they can fill gaps, and your your defensive tackles can keep those big hog mollies off of your linebackers so that they can shoot gaps and make plays. I mean, you don't have to have special linebackers to win a national championship. I don't think our linebackers were special when we won a national championship. I think they were good. I don't know about special, right? And you're able to do that when you have complementary pieces around. So you might be right, Trev. I'm like a customer watching Picasso paint his picture, and I just want to see the end result so then I can judge it. Right. Of course, we're going to judge it on cut-ups. Cut-ups will be back. We will talk about different things
Toski
as we see it. Toski the GOAT. We'll break it down. But I'm more excited about the defense than I am about the offense, because I know it's going to take a little bit of time. So the reason why is because I know it's going to take that offense some time to click, because it's a brand new system, right? It's like rewriting a bike all over again. So like, yeah, they've been practicing. Yeah, they've been in, but it's going to take some time to click, right? We know that when we see that first game, we're not going to see the whole offense. We know when we see Oklahoma, it's going to be a specialized game plan. I want to see that offense week 6, week 7. Now you starting to put stuff all together. And I think that offense at the end of the year will be more clicking than it is at the beginning of the year.
Okay. That's fair. I like great defense too, so like I'm just excited. But that's a fun question.
I saw that.
Good, we'll end on that. That's perfect. I know my answer easily. What's more likely, Bryce throwing for 3K or Marsh and Savion both running for 1,000 apiece?
Marsh and Hyder both running for 1,000 apiece.
I would bet large sums of money right now that Marshall and Hyder are both going to get 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, guys, I want you guys to understand something. I don't think this is the year that Bryce has the 3K season.
Mm-mm.
I think
I
next
do
year.
think he runs for like 800 yards, though.
Yeah, I think next year, year 2, under this staff with Detmer and Beck at the helm, another year, another summer of Palmer. I think next year is going to be the year that everybody's going to be sitting back and they're going to be like, oh, this kid could really do something special. And what I mean by that is he could give you the 3,000 yards, the 800 yards rushing, the 30 plus. That's the year I think he breaks the mold of Michigan quarterbacks, right? You got to give this guy, he's like, once again, he hasn't even turned 19 yet. I don't think people realize that when he's going into his junior year, he still won't be technically old enough to drink. Give him some time. I think he puts up 25, 2,700 yards, like Trevor said.
Well, let's make this question more complicated than 3K versus 3K. What's more likely, Bryce throwing for 3,000 or Marshall, Savion, and Bryce rushing for 1,000 apiece? More likely. You're not predicting either one's going to happen, but more likely.
This year, I'm probably still going to go with 3K across the ground. I just think
so too. I just
think they've told, based on what we've heard, they've told him that if read 1 and read 2 is not there, take off running.
Mm-hmm.
And we already have seen Bryce in the open field. He can get kind of loose. He's not no slow guy. Like, you get him out in that field, he gonna take off running.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at how they use Dampier. I think he's a better athlete than Dampier. And the one thing you said yesterday that I agree on, I actually think they're gonna run real RPOs and they're gonna run real zone reads. And if you're telling me that Bryce is gonna line up and run a zone read with Savion Hyder or Jordan Marshall, and that defensive end has to commit, good luck. That's all I'm going to say is good luck. Because if they're running and that run game is going, what type of conflict is that? And the way that Beck runs his offense, and once again, we'll go through this in detail on cut-ups in like 3 weeks, he's going to give you the same play in multiple formations. So what looks like to you that you've seen on film is like, oh, that's a pass. It's like, wait a minute, they running out this formation? Oh, they in a run formation. We can come into the box. Wait, they're passing out of this formation? We've never seen that. That's what I was told by somebody who like is a savant, and I'll end on this. Somebody that's a savant when it comes to like breaking down offenses. They said Jason Beck hasn't really got the shine because of where he's been. He's been at Utah, New Mexico State, some lower smalls. But they was like, Jason Beck will be a head coach in college football in the next 3 to 4 years because he's such a savant on offense.
Yep.
And what he does in his preparation and how he preps his offensive side of the ball teams. It's like, you know how they deemed McVay the wonder kid. You had McVay, you had Shanahan.
Boy,
like
McVay's nuts with his memory.
Right, but like the great thing about McVay is he takes attention to detail, right? And they said Beck is kind of like that, right? Like he employs his coaches to do their job and coach the team so that he can be so attention to the game detail the week of the game and the game plans that he's putting together. So I think the sky is the limit for the offense, but I do think we won't see what the full potential of this offense looks like until probably Penn State, maybe Michigan State, where we'll be like, oh, this is what this could be. This could be good.
Yeah.
Which is good because we got Oregon, Indiana down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be clicking when you're starting to play those type of teams anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, we talked about the schedule a little bit, but yeah, you beat Oklahoma and you can be in a really, really good spot so you get to the back end of the schedule. That's why that game is so crucial for sure. So, all right. Thank you guys again if you've joined us live. Appreciate it. Subscribe, notification bell for when we do go live, and the countless other content that's going to be available here on the Blue by 90 podcast network. If you're getting an issue with the notification bell, Justin and I have been talking about it. I'm not sure where the mistake is happening, but apparently I set this video up to be like a kid's video or something like that. So we're working on that, but we are off tomorrow.
Yep.
And then I will have our first episode of Michigan Weekly, Big Boutros. My friend Nick.
Yeah, I'm about to say we're off, but you got one of the GOATs. I'm going to be tuned in with you guys in the comments. I love when Boudreaux shows up, so make sure you guys show up tomorrow. Ask your questions. He's a pretty cool guy. He will answer questions as he sees them. I know he did the last time y'all was on the pod, so I'm super excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. And then, yeah, like I said, keep up the tabs. Still a lot of big things coming and things to announce as we get going. And then I believe Wormley and Strack are back tomorrow as well. I got to memorize our own schedule. There's so much. But yeah, again, thank you for being here live. If you want to be in here live, 10:30 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Continue to retweet, share, spread the word. We appreciate you guys so much. And then Justin will have more on tailgates. We're getting close. Michigan football games and Blue by 90 tailgates. We'll be out there. You guys can come up, talk to us. And, man, I can't wait. Get back inside that stadium and let the Kyle Whittingham era begin. But for now, we are signing off. We'll see you guys again on Thursday morning with Rise to the Victory.